I'm Kevin Stevens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran.
But that's not what this is about.
I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years.
But it's not about this either.
Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners.
So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable.
All while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play.
So welcome back to another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So wow, what a roller coaster ride of legislative sessions that we just got out of, and all of our state legislators. Just want to shout out, especially to Ms. Salzman on a well-fought victories up there at legislative sessions, as well as our other state representatives, senators, and so forth. Huge, like I said, it looked like it was kind of a very productive session, as well as just a lot of time away from their families. So. As being an elected official myself, that thank God does not have to travel out of the area very often. I certainly appreciate that. I know the rest of us do as well for giving back to our community. So thanks again for that. And as I get into that about this legislative session, I would like to talk about what in that legislative session had an impact on ECUA. So again, I always kind of promised my residents and the ratepayers of Escambia County that weren't able to make our 3 o'clock meetings. I would like to point out that I don't have anybody jumping through hoops to go sit through an ECUA board meeting at 3 o'clock. But nonetheless, I did want to, use this as a forum to let you folks know what we're discussing, what affects you, good, bad, indifferent. And so keeping with that, back to the legislative session, which just ended last week, and of course they'll go back to finalize some stuff. But I want to talk about SB 700, known as the Farm Bill, which includes a fluoride prohibition. And let me talk about that a little bit, because a lot of folks had referred to this as the fluoride bill. This actually does not mention fluoride at all in the bill. What it does is preclude any type of chemical element additive that does not directly go towards cleaning, purifying, sanitizing, essentially making the water safe to drink, right? So that was, it's interesting because there's a lot of strong opinions on fluoride, one of which is from my 14-year-old son in school asking me, Dad, when are you guys going to vote to take fluoride out of the water? You need to take it out. And then, of course, I've got friends of mine who are dentists, and they're very pro fluoride. So I really was blessed enough to have a really good mix of the pros and the against. And of course, a lot of my friends, Miss Pichelle Schneider, super sharp, goodness gracious, Larry Downs Jr., Fecal Matters, that's his plug, by the way. Has showed up to our board meetings, again, speaking against the additive of fluoride and so forth as well. So certainly appreciate that. Appreciate anybody taking time out of their day to come to our meeting and again, speaking to the elected officials, those individuals who are supposed to be representing you. I was on Pichelle's show, the Thornton Review, Mr. Thornton's show as well, and we were talking about this bill. And by the way, she actually went up to Tallahassee and was present for a lot of the legislative readings and so forth for that. And so I appreciate her time and effort on doing that as well. And would come back and, of course, report to us. But I will tell you that bill was passed by both the House and the Senate. So as we speak, Florida SB 700 is on the governor's desk to sign into law. We're leaning towards he's going to sign that. There's no reason why he wouldn't sign it. I'm not speaking for Governor DeSantis in any shape, form, or fashion. But typically, if there's any objections to those, you're hearing a lot of them prior to it going to his desk. So I think it will get passed. That being the case, ECUA at that point will be giving a mandate from the state to remove fluoride from the water. We expect that to come in the next few months, depending on short of the governor not signing off on that. So man, that makes it easy for us elected officials. I mean, no one has to get sideways with anybody, because the board members can say, hey, we didn't vote for it. Whether you're for or against it, the state made us take it out. So there you go. Pichelle did put me on the spot, bless her heart, on her show and asked me, I'm asking you point blank, Kevin, are you for or against it? And I said, listen, I hate to sound like a politician, because I'm not. I say I'm not a politician, but I get reminded, actually, Kevin, you are a politician. I don't feel like one, or sometimes I do. But I said, listen, I would vote, and I've made my voice clear with the other board members, to remove it, but not all solely for the reasons you think so. So do we put enough in the water to harm people? No, we do not. In fact, the recommended amount that was prescribed by multiple food and drug administrations is actually lower than what we put in there. My challenge is this. I was elected to represent the people in my district, by the way, who are not affected by this. So I was very clear, being in District 5, I always tell folks I'm the tale of two cities. I got Jimmy's Grill over here, which has just been changed to Jen's Grill, by the way. Go check it out. Great country soul food. And then I've got your Scenic Hills Country Club over here. So we keep your sewer where the sun don't shine up here in the northern end. We like our septic tanks. To Mr. Stevens, we need sewer over here for our restaurants, growth, and expansion. So it's tale of two cities. But my house, for example, in Molino, I'm Molino Utilities. So I use, we have garbage service up there in my area, but we don't have water service. It's Molino. And so Molino, Peoples, Walnut Hill, that sort of thing, large part of my district, District 5, we never added fluoride to the water. So it was a non-issue up there. So I was very cognizant in the fact that I said, look, this really affects folks basically, Quintet and south of Quintet or Kingsfield, where we service a lot of those areas there where fluoride was added to the water. So I said that, and then at the same time, I'm like, look, whether you're for or against it, if you're putting it in the water and you've got a segment of people who are saying don't put it in the water, they don't really have a choice. I mean, short of buying a $4,000 or $5,000 water filtration system. So I'm all about freedom and freedom of choice. And for those reasons, I'm like, look, does it help with teeth? Does it help with tooth care? Absolutely. But I think 20 years ago when it was voted in, there was probably maybe a need for it, more so now with dental care. But now, again, with the advent of free clinics, I sponsor a lot. As a lot of you folks know or may not know, I donate my salary plus some back to various charitable causes, many of which are in District 5. So we've got some drives coming up. I'm actually going to post something on this show a little bit later. Michelle Salzman State Representative Salzman is sponsoring one as well, which are going to provide toothpaste. So very timely, right, with the future passage of this bill, toothpaste, toothbrushes, mouthwash, things of that nature that have fluoride in it. So for those individuals in less serviced segments, maybe some of your lower income areas who may not have access to some of that, because that's the argument, by the way, on one side of the pro-fluoride folks, we're going to be handing those out for free. So certainly take advantage of that, and all of those, of course, are including fluoride and so forth. So I did want to talk about SB 700 and the passage of that, or preliminary passage of that, I should say, pending the governor's approval. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
It starts with a Total Connect Solutions power delivery system with solar, battery, and generator. Total Connect Solutions integrated windows, sound and video, lights into one dynamic system. Imagine a theater in your own home. With our expert team on our side, every high-tech need is met with precision and care. Total Connect Solutions, where quality innovation and true integration make your home come alive. TotalConnectSolutions.com.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
Your fleet runs or you're out of business.
From engines to transmissions to routine maintenance.
And emergencies 24 hours, 7 days a week. We can't fix it on location, we'll tow it in.
Poor maintenance can cost thousands of dollars in lost business.
We work with any kind of truck from small to semis.
Oh, Extreme Fleet Maintenance, your one-stop shop for all your fleet maintenance needs.
8668 Fowler Avenue, Pensacola. ExtremeFleetMaintenance.com.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So just prior to the short commercial break, we were going over the SB 700, also known as the Farm Bill. Again, we talked a little bit about when and if, and it looks like he's going to sign off, Governor DeSantis, on that bill that would mandate the removal of fluoride from the water system statewide, not just within ECUA, but statewide. So stand by for that. So any folks that were going to be petitioning us week after next, Larry, Michelle, no need. Your work is done. But let's talk. That kind of moves me into my next subject matter. Speaking of next week, is when our annual budget sessions are in full swing. And so what that basically is every year we essentially get presentations from the various departments within ECUA, whether that be the water reclamation, sewer, sanitation, the MRF, also known as the recycling facility, and so forth. And they give us their budget request. So here's what we got allotted last year before last. Here's how it was used. Here's our overage. There's usually never an overage, by the way. And then here was our shortfalls and what we need to make up. And then of course every board member has their wish list on their prospective areas on where they would like to add sewer where it doesn't exist, or some infrastructure improvements and so forth. And at the end of the day, there's never enough money to do everything that that we're able to do, because I always constantly remind people that ECUA has only been around since 80, right? So 1980. So when you're talking about that 80, 81 time frame, and you're talking about everything that predates that, I mean, we're talking back to the 1700s. I mean, we're talking with wooden kerosene dipped railroad ties hollowed out for original sewer lines and lead pipes and all this other stuff, which for the most part have been removed, by the way. I'm sure there's probably some out there somewhere that we don't know about. Always get made fun of in a loving way by some of my builder developer buddies and ratepayers who are paying for tap fees and so forth like that. And they're like, well, Kevin, you guys paid me for a tap and for a lateral that didn't exist. And I'm like, listen, buddy, we gave you what we knew at the time. I mean, keep in mind, Pensacola, as you know, first city, regardless of what St. Augustine says, has been around a long time before ECUA. So we took over a vast majority, in fact, not a vast majority, a majority of the infrastructure. So we're taking whatever maps and stuff that our predecessors had and our predecessors had, and then adding them to what we have. And of course, we've cambered lines and we've done other maps and things of that nature that we can to get the most accurate list of where laterals run and sewer and water lines and so forth are run. But they're not 100% perfect by no stretch of the imagination. But it is kind of funny, because I always tell folks, well, did we give your money back? Well, yeah. I'm like, well, there you go. We have to put on there when you fill out that application, certain restrictions apply, see store for details. Translation, if it ain't there, we're certainly going to refund your money. It doesn't happen often, but it happens. It happens. So, but speaking of that, we're always looking for money, and that was one of the first things I'd reached out to my director, Bruce Woody, great guy. We're very blessed to have a good director like him. He's a very knowledgeable man, very level-headed, and just a wealth of knowledge. But like, hey, we're not putting the fluoride. We're not most likely putting the fluoride in there. So how much is it? How much does it cost? What do we have? What are all the the mechanical devices that we're no longer going to need? Can we sell them? Can we eBay them? What can we get? And then of course, labor, man hours, all that type of stuff. So let's get a full report on all the money that we're going to be saving from not putting fluoride in there. There's got to be a silver lining there. And how can we add that back into our budget? So he's already getting a head start on that already. So he can have that report ready for myself and the other board members on what we're going to be able to do. But again, when we get into these budget meetings, it's one of these situations where everybody wants to hang you for a $3 a month rate increase. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the mail I get, and the emails and the phone calls, and you evil, greedy board members, and you're jacking up our rates. And I'm like, $3. FPL jacked you up 60%. They're a publicly traded company, with shareholders, and you're billing up $90, and ours went up $3. And anyway, and the money stays in here, by the way. But again, and I get it, folks are on fixed incomes and so forth, but we're at a point now where I tell people, you got pre-COVID and post-COVID, and rates, I'm just telling you, are just most likely are not going down, because, and I'll tell you why. It's real simple, especially those of you all who work at a business or run a small business. Labor has gone up, it ain't coming down. Material has gone up, it's not coming down, folks. That's why I just sit there and tell people about egg prices. Eggs went way up until we got that under control, right? That's what happens when you kill millions of birds, by the way, chickens and so forth, the producer of the egg, of course. Yeah, anyway, I'm not going there, not on this show. But that's come down. But it didn't go down to what it was prior to it going up. That's what's happened. I tell people, 9/11, stand by, folks. You're going to continue to take your shoes off. That is the nature of the beast. Like it or not, I'm just a realist here, folks. So we're not getting, when 90%, 95% of our projects, sewer expansions, repairs, all of that is done by the private sector. We send it out to bid, public, for all the eyes to see, and we get multiple bids coming in on that. They are astronomical, and I'm not hammering you small business owners or utility contractors. I understand. Running multiple businesses myself personally, looking at financials, dealing with job cost, and we don't know what's going on with these tariffs right now. I mean, it's all over the place. I get it. So when I'm sending out bids pre-COVID for a sewer expansion in Brownsville, and it was $1.8 million for X amount of yards of new sewer pipe, and I go out now. Fast forward, we get the money allotted. We apply for grants. We cause everything is very slow, guys. Government moves very, very slow. ECUA is no different. We finally get the money allotted. I'm like, hey, John with XYZ utility contractor, we're ready for you now. Well, Mr. Stevens, I hate to tell you, and it's actually not me, it's one of our engineering department. We hate to tell you, but it's not 1.8 anymore. Now it's 3.2. That's a fact. So now where does that extra money come from? Again, we're not publicly traded. You own it, I own it. So there's nowhere to get the money from. And that's not just for, I used Brownsville sewer expansion as an example. That's not just that one, that's every one of our projects. So we find ourselves when we're looking at our budget, I'm like, how much money can we set aside to actually do some new expansions, adding existing sewer customers, getting them off the septic tanks, as opposed to having a slush fund over here for breaks and repairs that we know we're going to make. We know these things are breaking again way prior to 1980, and they're breaking constantly, and they're very, very expensive. And so at that stage of the ball game, we don't have an opportunity to do a whole lot of shopping. When you've got sewer coming out, you got to get that handled and handled quickly. So again, there's just not a lot of money or I should say, there's not enough money to do everything that we need to do. And we'll talk a little bit more about that budget right after this short commercial break. So stay tuned.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does 2 things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So just prior to the commercial break, we were talking a little bit about the budget sessions that we're about to go into ECUA next week. So that'll be pretty much for the entire week, every day of the week, just discussing and hearing different presentations from the various department heads on their budget, on their proposed budget. And it's all about asking us typically for more money. To facilitate, whether it be the engineering department, infrastructure, sewer expansion, something that we've been working on at ECUA for quite a while. In fact, there's a federal and state mandate from septic to sewer conversions, right? So again, and that's really focused more so on sewer systems or neighborhoods that are connected, to septic systems closer to water areas, as you can imagine. So Gulf, streams, creeks, bays, estuaries, things of that nature, that's where we want to focus on first on the septic to sewer conversions. But again, it was limited on the amount of money that we got. So, and then I always tell folks, last year we were applying for grants, and I always talk to my director, and he passes on to the staff, which do a great job. I'm like, look, we need to have grant writers writing grants, asking for money, state money, federal money, and all. More hooks you got in the water, more opportunity you got to catch a fish. So. And again, they came back. They came back with almost, $21 million worth of grants. So it's sort of kind of free money, right? I mean, obviously state and federal, we all as Escambia County residents pay into, but it's nice to have the whole state and country contribute as well, right? To our town, because selfishly speaking, we Pensacola is our home base. So, but again, a lot of folks understand those are matching grants. So it's like, hooray! Fantastic, we got $21 million. Well, it's matching grants, so you have to come up with $21 million in order to get the $21 million, right? So it's like, okay, well, where do we get $21 million? So hold on a second, let's pull it out of your pocket, right? We don't have that. So there's a lot of moving around and shifting around, because I'm like, man, it's the best BOGO at Walmart you'll ever get, right? I mean, you got 21 million and you go match 21 million, and we're going to give you 21 million, and now you got 42 million. So these are just examples of grants and stuff that we get that we have to utilize. We got a recent grant for the new transfer station on Pine Forest Road. So that's been approved already. Now we've still got to get the county commission. So make sure you're rallying your county commissioners and making sure that gets done. That's going to cut fuel cost, labor cost, transfer cost tremendously for our trucks going back and forth to the dump. We got a great little area we've been operating on for quite a number of years. Now that we've bought an additional piece of property to do a transfer station for ECUA, but the best part about it is we got a $3 million grant for the state. So that way, when I'm going through my budget hearings next week and we're trying to find money to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, there's $3 million I don't have to worry about. There's $3 million that's coming from the great state of Florida to go towards the construction of that transfer station. So again, hopefully barring any hiccups or anything with the Board of County Commissioners, that should get approved and passed, and then we can put that transfer station to work and hopefully, be able to mitigate any potential increases we need. Because again, I calculate all that, at least, myself and the other board members. I'm a financial guy myself, so I'm all about P&Ls, balance sheet, debt flow schedules, efficiency, and so forth. That's what I look at. And so if I can consolidate, that's what we want to do. And in this particular case, we're able to consolidate the routes. We're able to, again, this transfer station is going to cut down on labor, fuel, wear and tear on trucks. Unfortunately, praise God, we had an accident the other day with one of our trucks was involved with. Thank God, no one was seriously injured. Not the log truck that hit our ECUA truck or our ECUA truck driver or the helper. So thank you, Jesus, no one was seriously hurt in that. But that takes us down a truck as well. So and we're still waiting on trucks. I get calls every day, especially some of our recycle trucks, the smaller recycle trucks, getting into some of the more rural areas in District 5, my district, because I've been waiting on them for over 2 years. Almost 3 years waiting on these trucks. That's how long it's taking, supply chain shortages and so forth. So I hate the fact that we're down yet another truck. So it's like we get 2 new trucks in and we end up losing 1 truck. And obviously not that we don't have insurance and so forth to cover the replacement of their truck, but it's not a money issue. It's actually getting another truck in here regardless, right? So now I'm down a truck. So I'll be waiting for those missed garbage call pickups from someone. Now, hopefully that's not. Was that a District 5 truck? No. But at any rate, but no, and that shouldn't be. We shouldn't have any. Hopefully, no pause there. Knock on plastic here on that. But again, now and speaking about that, guys, call. My email address is going to be up here. Questions, comments, concerns. Best thing to do is to email me. I got a standard operating procedure (SOP) for some of you civilian folks set out with my staff right now. That you send me an email, it goes to my department head, director, Mr. Bruce Woody, then it goes to the various department head, where it be a missed garbage pickup, missed bulk pickup, recycle, thank you for recycling, and then of course they have 24 hours from which to respond. They usually do it way quicker than that, and feel free to give that to your neighbors. That's going to be up here at the bottom of the screen. So that's the best way to get a hold of me, because I can actually tell when my director and or staff member opened the email. So it's a big inspect what you expect philosophy that I live by. So it holds everybody accountable. Thankfully, I have a great staff, so it's very easy. But everybody gets busy. Mistakes happen. We're all human. So we want to give you some grace. We'd certainly appreciate a little grace on our end, as well as our staff. I know everybody gets a little frustrated, but I always tell folks when they say, "Well, this guy missed my pickup, and it's the second time he missed it in this past year, and you need to fire him." I'm like, "Sir, ma'am, how many drivers would you like me to fire right now?" Because we don't have long lines of people wanting to work in 102 degrees in the shade on the back of a garbage truck. So you ask me, 2, 3, 4, how many would you like me to fire? So again, we got to be, I always tell people, be patient, be graceful with this. If there's any issues, questions, comments, concerns, reach out to me and or your other board members. I like to think we're very responsive with you all. My phone number is on here too. My wife will tell you, I answer on the weekends. She's like, "You're crazy. Why do you do this?" I'm like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? If not me, then who? My wife gets tired of hearing that. But yeah, if I can help you guys out, that's the you all out. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, being able to solve an issue. Again, if you're not using the recycling, can, call me up. I'll replace it with a second garbage can at no additional cost to you. I'd rather you do that than contaminate it. So far, so good. We're breaking even on the MRF, made a little bit of profit. Praise God. So we want to continue that. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless, and we'll see you next month.